Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy. In today's video, I'm bringing you guys a buy or sell second round ADP of the 2020 Fantasy Football Draft. So if you guys want to see buy or sell of the first round ADP right now, go ahead and check out a couple days ago's video. I talk about in depth every single pick in the first round, just like I'm going to do in this video. But this time for the second round, go over every single pick and my overall feeling on the players going in that round, whether I would draft them or not. Pretty much buy or sell. Buy means draft. Sell means that I would look elsewhere in the draft to draft a different player at that spot. So before we get into the video, I'd like to ask you guys, could please go down below if you're new and please click that subscribe button. I put out multiple videos every single day to help you guys win your 2020 Fantasy Football Championship, as well as check out my Patreon. Has some rankings on there, as well as some other stuff that's going to help you even further solidify your shot at winning that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Buy or sell second round ADP. So I'm going to go over the first 12 picks of the second round, obviously all 12 picks of the second round, and then talk about them individually. So the first pick of the second round is Miles Sanders. Second pick is Kenyan Drake. The third pick is Big Dick Nicholas Chubb. The fourth pick is Austin Ekeler. The fifth pick is Travis Kelce. Sixth is CEH, followed by Chris Godwin, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Lamar Jackson, George Kittle, and to close out the second round is Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, ADP is just average draft position, so it could be different in every single draft, obviously, but this is around the spot where most of these players are going. So the first pick of the second round, like I stated, is Miles Sanders, running back of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, recent news tells me that Miles Sanders is week to week, and what that is going to tell me is that Miles Sanders will be fine for week one, but what scares me is what will the Eagles do? Right now, their backup running back is Boston Scott, and behind him, it's very tipsy-turvy. Now, do the Philadelphia Eagles go ahead and fuck Miles Sanders' day up to hit Miles Sanders with the 619 Rey Mysterio, hit him with the you can't see me John Cena type of move, and just absolutely mollywop the guy? That's personally what I believe is going to happen. I think they bring in another veteran back in case Miles Sanders is not healthy to go week one. Plus, Doug Peterson is known for that running back by committee. Now, the thoughts before the season and before this ended up happening was that Doug Peterson has never had a running back with as much skill as Miles Sanders on his roster to be the true workhorse back. We saw Miles Sanders emerge and become that back the last couple of games of the season, but what it took for that to happen was every single player on the team to get whacked and get hurt for Miles Sanders to become that guy. Now, to start off the season, we were thinking, holy shit, it's finally going to be Miles Sanders' time to shine, and that just probably is not going to be true. I believe within the next couple of days, Doug Peterson ends up bringing in a veteran back, whether that's Devontae Freeman or someone else. I personally think it'll be Devontae Freeman. Then Miles Sanders is completely not worth it at this pick. I am right now picking based upon what I believe will happen, so I will personally not be drafting Miles Sanders at the 201 this year. Before he ended up getting hurt, I was bought in. I was previously not until the last couple of weeks, and then I officially bought in. I was like, you know what? They are going to be able to use Miles Sanders as the workhorse, and then what do I know? Right as when I think that the guy ends up getting hurt, so no victory lap on Miles Sanders considering he got hurt, and they're probably going to end up bringing in another guy to hurt Miles Sanders' value. So he's going to be a sell for me here in the second round, the first pick of the second round. Second pick of the second round is running back Kenyan Drake of the Arizona Cardinals, obviously former Miami Dolphin running back. Down the stretch last season, after he got shipped off from Miami to become an Arizona Cardinal, Kenyan Drake was unreal. One of the better running backs for fantasy football. The guy was tearing it up both in the rushing game as well as in the receiving game. Kenyan Drake looked like the best thing since sliced bread out there, since we were used to David Johnson's old ass out there wandering around. After he got hurt, he was playing like fucking dog shit. That's why they brought in Kenyan Drake, and now Kenyan Drake looks to be the workhorse back of this Arizona offense like we saw down the stretch of last season. Do I think that is going to happen? 100% yes. I really believe in Kenyan Drake this season. But that does not mean that I would draft him at the 202. I personally believe, due to the ADP that we are looking at here, that he would not be the best pick at the 202. So personally, I'm going to go ahead and say I would sell him here. I think Kenyan Drake is definitely worthy of a second round pick, and I think he's going to have a top 12 fantasy season at the running back position. But for me, the price is a little too high with the running backs as well as the other players that are still available. So I'm going to say I'm going to be selling Kenyan Drake at this pick. But I think if you can get him a couple of picks later, Kenyan Drake would happily be my guy. And he will happily be a running back too on a bunch of my roster, since I really believe in Kenyan Drake this year. Even though they are one of those offenses that is called a air raid offense. That's the Cliff Kingsbury system. It seems like they're running the ball through the ground last season and they dump it off a lot to the running back. So Kenyan Drake is obviously going to perform well this year. Just don't like him at that given pick. At the 203, we have Nicholas Chubb. Now, Nick Chubb, obviously, there is worries that he did end up getting a concussion. Right now, he's on the concussion protocol, but that that does not really worry me at all. It may actually be a plus for Nick Chubb because Nick Chubb is not out there right now to somehow pull his hamstring or do something stupid in training camp inside of practice that you don't want to happen. So it's both a good and a bad. Obviously, it's a bad because you don't want your running back getting a goddamn concussion. That just puts the guy one more closer to getting hit once in the head and it being the end of his NFL career. Now, to our knowledge, this is his first ever concussion in the NFL. So based upon the science I looked up on Wikipedia, that means that Nick Chubb should be good to go in the next couple of weeks, and he should be fine to clear that concussion protocol. I'm not all too worried. I really love Nick Chubb. I think this offense is going to be very, very, very run-heavy under head coach Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski is a very run-heavy coach, was in Minnesota, and I believe that Nick Chubb is going to be an excellent pick here in the second round, so I'm all over Nick Chubb, and I would go ahead and buy Mr. Full Chubb at the 203. At the 204, we had the first four picks have been all running backs of different teams. Obviously, Austin Ekeler, running back of the LA Superchargers, is at the 204. Now, if you guys know me, you know that I love me some Austin Ekeler. He's an insta-buy. You can close your eyes and draft Austin Ekeler. I might even draft Austin Ekeler in the first round of some leagues due to the fucking man boner I have for this guy. Now, I actually have another running back ranked ahead of him here, but I still would believe in picking him at the 204. I think they are super close, and it is a struggle for me when I'm looking at my drafts, who I want to draft, Ekeler versus the other player that we are going to be talking about in a bit, since I view them so highly. Obviously, the LA Superchargers are not the greatest team. They don't have the greatest quarterback. They don't have the greatest offensive line, but Austin Ekeler did very good last season with the work he got, and when Melvin Gordon was not there the first couple of weeks of the season, Austin Ekeler was a goddamn monster. He was like a bear on steroids, absolutely mauling the defenses, hitting him with the good old 1-2 Mayweather. I think we see Austin Ekeler become a beast yet again in 2020. I am very high on Austin Ekeler yet again this season. We really saw him play well with Gordon and without, and now that Gordon got his ass shipped off to Denver, I think we're going to see a hell of a year out of Austin Ekeler. So at the 204, he is a certified, locked, and loaded buy at that pick. Coming up next, the first pick that is not a running back in this round, the 205's Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce. Now, in some leagues, you are going to be seeing Kelce go first. In other leagues, you are going to be seeing Kittle. But as of this ADP, Travis Kelce is the tight end one off the board. Now, if you want a tight end, go ahead and draft the guy here in the second round. You're going to have to draft Kelce or Kittle likely in the second or third round if you want him. So if you want to draft a tight end, this is where you are going to have to do it. But to me, he is a sell at this pick. I'm personally not about drafting a tight end in like the second or third round. The spot that I'm most happy to draft one is in the fourth round with Mark Andrews. So I'm going to go ahead and stay away from Travis Kelce. I think Kelce is the number one tight end though in fantasy football. That's where I've got him ranked. I think he has an excellent year. Nothing against Travis Kelce. It's just personally based off of my draft philosophy where I like to load up on the running backs early. So, and especially in a 12-team league, I just don't think there's too much value in drafting a tight end early. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's sell on Travis Kelce here at the 205, but I hope he has an excellent year, and I really think he will. At the 206, we see Travis Kelce's teammate, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Mr. CEH. His whole name didn't fit on the screen because it's so goddamn long. It even has a dash in it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU, likely to be one of the more explosive rookies coming into the NFL this year, obviously for guys that are actually going to be playing. CEH steps into a very potent position where the running back there that gets a lot of use will get a lot of production. Now, Damian Williams ends up opting out of the season. He was really what CEH had to barrel through to go ahead and become that running back one. I thought it would take a couple of weeks, and then eventually, bam, CEH would be in there. That's why he was going as like a third or fourth round pick. Sometimes in the second round, I was saying, hey, that's a little early for Damian Williams. But now, that was a little early for CEH. Now, CEH might go in the first round of your fucking draft. I've seen multiple drafts where he goes top 6 picks in your draft at that draft price. I'm completely avoiding it, but here at the 206, I would buy it. Now, I personally do still like another running back higher than him, but again, I'm not going to go ahead and have a huge argument and discrepancy based off of a couple of rankings, whereas I feel a lot more comfortable here with Nick Chubb over guys like Kenyan Drake and Miles Sanders, same with Ekeler and CEH. That's why I have them kind of as sells at this spot. I really think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have an immense season. He's on one of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL with the best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, of big man Pat Mahomes. Andy Reid has shown CEH so much praise based upon all these quotes. It looks like he's ready to get down on his knees and blow the guy, and it's perfectly worth it, and it's going to be perfectly worth it for your fantasy team because CEH is going to be a monster this year. Sure, I don't really love drafting rookie running backs in their first season, especially this season without training camp, but I think that the fact that you're a rookie, or not without training camp, without preseason, but I think it will affect the wide receivers more, so I think CEH is going to be great this season, and I will happily draft him in the second round. Next at the 207, so the final 6 picks of the second round. If you guys have enjoyed thus far, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. At the 207, we have wide receiver of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Chris Godwin, wide receiver of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's coming off here at a perfect spot for Chris Godwin, coming off ahead, or he's actually coming off the board before a couple of guys I also like in the third round that I'm also very high on in the third and fourth round. So you don't necessarily have to draft Chris Godwin. I really like drafting running backs early in the first 2 rounds. So Chris Godwin isn't the guy I'm necessarily picking in the second round, but at that ADP, I would definitely draft him. I think that Chris Godwin has an excellent year. He's the prototypical prospect, or not even a prospect because he broke out last year. He's an excellent player. He's the prototypical build of a guy that Tom Brady will just feed the goddamn ball to. I think Chris Godwin has an excellent season in 2020 with the quarterback change of Tampa Bay Tom Brady, and I think that Godwin has yet another excellent year, back-to-back Michael Jordan 96-97-esque. At the 208, we have one of my favorite running backs, the running back ranked highest out of everyone in this second round, and that's Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. So obviously, I just said he's ranked highest of them all. He is going to be a locked and loaded buy in the second round. I think Josh Jacobs might be worthy of a first-round pick. That's how much I love this guy. I think Josh Jacobs has the potential to be that running back that is the NFL leading rusher, the guy that is the rushing title winner. Last year, it was Derrick Henry. This year, I believe it could actually end up being Josh Jacobs due to the fact that I think he's going to get the ball a whole shit ton. Gruden last season absolutely fed the guy in the offense. I think he's going to feed him yet again in 2020. Mike Mayock comes out and says, Jacobs is going to be getting more opportunity to catch passes in this offense, and I'm going to go ahead and believe that. You want to get the ball in the playmaker's hands, and Josh Jacobs is one hell of a playmaker, one of the most efficient backs in the NFL in his rookie season, and with an increase in pass-catching work, I think Josh Jacobs could really emerge and become one of those top 5 running backs in fantasy football, so I love his value inside of the second round. Now on to pick 209 with running back Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers. He's going to be a buy for me as well. Now, I don't necessarily love him here in the second round, but he is the next best running back available in my opinion, and if you have to pay a second round price for Aaron Jones, I think he is going to be worth it. Last year, a top 12 running back. This year, likely could finish there as well. I understand a lot of people are really off of Aaron Jones due to the fact that A.J. Dillon is going to come there, or is already there, which he actually is. The guy looks like a beast in that training camp picture. Guy has quads that you would dream of. He has quads that Johnny Drama would like to buy. That's how good he was looking. So Aaron Jones was an absolute monster. He scored a zillion touchdowns last year, but if you actually subtract the touchdowns, you take him down to like 5, he's still a top 15 back. He's getting very, very criminally underrated this year, and I would not be surprised if Aaron Jones was a guy not even being drafted in the second round in a lot of drafts due to the fact that a lot of people perceive him as being very overrated as a fantasy football player, but I do not agree with that. I think that Aaron Jones is going to be very good yet again in 2020, as well as having some obviously nice pass catching opportunities there in Green Bay, and Green Bay is obviously one of the more run heavy teams in the NFL under Matt LaFleur. They really changed compared to what Mike McCarthy was, where they were one of the more pass heavy teams. Now they have kind of hit them with the reverse to go skirt, and now they're more of a run heavy team, but I still think Aaron Jones is going to be great in 2020. At the 210, we have Lamar Jackson, first quarterback of the ADP in the first and second round. The 210 pick is brought to you by Manscaped, is one of my sponsors. They are actually a men's hygiene company. I would really appreciate if you guys checked out the Lawnmower 3.0 on the Manscaped website. If you use code Notorious, you get 20% off as well as getting free shipping. They are amazing. If you're trying to clean downstairs, make that shit look pristine, make it look A1 like Lamar Jackson last season, make sure you get that online. Use code Notorious, like I said, at checkout for 20% off as well as free shipping. So back into the video. At the 210, Lamar Jackson, first quarterback off the board. So you're going to go ahead here and say, I'm fading Lamar Jackson. I'm not fading the talent. I think he's going to finish as either quarterback 1 or quarterback 2 as long as he plays every single game. But I'm fading the quarterback position in the second round. It is no way it's worth it at all. You are losing so much depth at running back, at wide receiver, at the 2 skill positions for fantasy football. You are completely losing the depth at that position if you go quarterback early. If you guys watch my videos, I really talk about spreading the positivity of drafting a quarterback early. Don't pull the trigger early on a quarterback. You want to make sure you draft them late, like I preach in every single mock draft video. And every single video that I talk about a quarterback, I'm talking about waiting until later, picking up one of those late round guys, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. I know those are some old heads. I know those aren't the guys, the sexy new pieces like Lamar Jackson. But at the end of the day, those are the guys that are going to win your fantasy football team. Football league, I should say, accompanied by an amazing running back or wide receiver you draft in the second round, whereas with Lamar Jackson, they're going to be accompanied by a not-so-great running back and wide receiver. And if Lamar Jackson even decreases slightly, like I think he will, then it is not going to look like the greatest pick in the second round. At the 211, we have the second tight end of the second round, end of the draft. That is George Kittle, tight end of the San Francisco 49ers. George Kittle last season put on a humongous season. Him and Travis Kelce got straight up bags, being the two tight ends in the Super Bowl. Both of them got big bucks, and for great reasons. Both guys very talented. George Kittle obviously on a more run-heavy team over there in San Francisco, but with Deebo Samuel hurt, George Kittle was really a safety valve for Mr. Jimmy GQ, Jimmy Guwop of the San Francisco 49ers, obviously their quarterback. So George Kittle, I think, will be good this year, but like I said, I'm not paying the price in a 12-team league for George Kittle. If you're in an 8-team league, a 10-team league, I'm more likely to do it since I think every team is stacked in those kind of leagues, whereas in 12-team leagues, not every team is going to be stacked. You're going to be faced with some guys who draft like absolute dumbasses. If you don't want to draft like a dumbass, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. So George Kittle is going to be a sell for me at the 211. I just personally don't believe in drafting tight ends early in a 12-team league. And final pick of the video, Super Bowl MVP, GOAT, not really the GOAT yet, but could be the GOAT of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. This guy was a beast last season, as well in 2019 and 2018, I should say. Patrick Mahomes was very good. He's going to be very good again, but like I said, I'm not drafting a quarterback super early. Just like with Lamar Jackson this year, I think Patrick Mahomes, like we saw last season, the quarterback one typically takes a step back. Most of the time, the wide receiver one, the running back one, the quarterback one, the tight end one from the previous year does not repeat as being the best player in fantasy football. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes was not the best quarterback last year being drafted as it. I think both guys are going to be amazing in 2020. I personally have Patrick Mahomes ranked as the best quarterback to draft for fantasy football in 2020, but that does not change my mind. I'm not drafting him in the second round. I prefer to load up on value at running back or wide receiver and go with a quarterback later that I think is going to help me win. So that is how I draft. So I'm going to go ahead and say sell on Patrick Mahomes at the 212. So thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you ended up enjoying, you ended up chuckling, you ended up just having an overall great time, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's free and I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 Fantasy Football Championship. If you want extra help, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/notoriousfantasy. That has the draft guide on there. And if you want to clean downstairs, have a nice looking downstairs, it looking A1 like the steak sauce, please make sure to check out Manscaped. Use code Notorious at checkout. I love each and every single one of you motherfuckers. And I'll see you guys later with yet another banger of a video. Good boy!